What's up, everyone?
Yo,
Welcome to the 11th episode of the Nothin with that show. What's up, Mikey?
Not much, Sean. How you living?
I'm good, man. I'm ready. I'm excited. Let's get this show started.
So am I. Now, first, we want to let you guys know that we actually started publishing articles. So we have two content writers, Rochelle Verna, who does our football, and Tyler Schmidt, who does our basketball. So definitely check that out.
Yeah, and also for those of you guys that don't know, we started covering live high school basketball games. Yeah. We were at McArthur's games versus Hollandale High School this past week. The women's team won in a tight overtime battle.
Very close game.
They won 45-38, and the men's team won in a tight regulation game, 57-53.
Great game, up and down the whole time.
It was a pleasure to watch, and we interviewed the starting point guard for McArthur High School, Andres Garcia, after the game. So here's that brief interview. We're here at Hollandale High School with the starting point guard, Andres Garcia, after McArthur High School beat Hollandale in a tight 57-53 matchup. Andres, first of all, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Being someone that has seen you grow and has watched you play for a while, I was very impressed at, first of all, how big you've gotten. Can you talk a little bit about how much work you've put on your game and how changing your body has impacted it?
Yeah, most of my work has been through McArthur. Man, we've been out there every single day. Every single day, we run 2 miles, suicides on the football field. We jump hurdles, bleachers, weight room, and that's every day. We didn't even touch the basketball for a long time. Until finally November hit, we started preseason. No more track. We had to beat our times. We were timed the whole time. And once we beat our times, that was our ticket into getting into the gym and start official practices. And so ever since that, man, we early in the morning, late at night, we were always working in the gym. So honestly, my growth has been through McArthur High School, Coach Gale, and I thank them very much for how much I've grown.
Yeah, another big thing since I've been playing basketball with you since you're like 11 or 12 is your play style as well. Because you've always been a point guard, but it was more like a shooting guard role where you're trying to take everything as an ISO. Tonight and seeing you play more recently, it's a more slowed down role. And you're playing point guard. You're not just trying to take on defense by yourself. And I think that shows your talents way more. What effort have you made towards that in the recent years? Obviously, growing up brings it out of you more as well.
It just depends, man. It depends. We started playing as a team. I realized there's gonna be nights I'm not scoring. There's gonna be nights I am. And there's been games where I'm the one averaging 15 points, and there's the games I'm having 4 or 5 points but 8 or 10 assists. And tonight was one of them. Those nights, some of the teams didn't finish some of my assists, but it's okay. The pressure was great here. It was a great game, great competition. But like back to the whole thing. A lot of it had to do with just I didn't want to force anything. I didn't want to force if I'm not coming, if I'm not hitting. So I let my team do the work, and then we ended up coming out with the victory.
Yeah, you specifically mentioned how some nights you're not taking on the scoring role, but the facilitating one. Tonight, not only did you score, but you have a very complete game with 4 rebounds, 5 assists, easily could have had more, 4 steals, and even a block. What do you think about your effort tonight, and how do you see your game improving for the rest of the season?
I think my effort was pretty good. I think I could have done more, of course, because I was in foul trouble, so it kind of hindered my performance. But it could have been a lot better, definitely. But, we still came out with the win. And I see myself only getting better. I'm a junior in high school. I got 1 more year next year, and I'm only going to get better. This is every single day. We always in the gym. I'm only getting better. And I see myself, sky's the limit for myself. That's what I see. I believe many other people believe the same.
Yeah, speaking of your age and how young you are, honestly, I know the recruiting process has just started, so how's that been? Like, are there schools you're talking to? Are there schools that you're, like, trying to get to come see you?
Honestly, my coach doesn't tell us what colleges come for us. He's a coach that, like, beginning of the school year, we had a day called Pro High School Day, and about 15 colleges come in and they come and watch us. But coach doesn't tell us who's interested. Coach doesn't tell us that, assuming that it's to keep us humble. But it's all good, man. And I know colleges have been interested because I've seen them talk about me and I've seen them look at me. So I know it's going to be all right.
And I'm sure you have a very bright future ahead of you.
No, it definitely does.
It was great to watch you play, and congratulations on the win once again.
Yeah, keep it going. Like, we've seen the progression, and we know how high the ceiling's been. Like, we've known this since, 11 or 12. Like, just keep it going. And thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And once again, we'd like to thank Andres Garcia for doing the interview with us. And this is something we want to do on a weekly basis. Go check out the young studs down here in South Florida on the court. So if you know of any, definitely DM us on Instagram or Twitter so we can go check them out.
And as always, I want to encourage you guys to like this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and follow our social media pages. On Twitter, you can find us at The NBN Show, and on Instagram and Facebook at The Nothin But Net Show.
Now, on today's show, we'll be talking about the Rookie of the Year discussion. We'll touch upon the Kyle Korver trade, and we also have our question to the fans and our question from the fans.
We also have a phone interview with Mike O'Keefe, who is the founder of one of the top Portland TrailBlazers fan accounts on Instagram, Rose City Hoops, which is nearly at 12,000 followers. So be sure to stay tuned and hear what he has to say.
And before all of this, a word from AJM Performance.
AJM Performance. Do you want to train like the pros do? AJM Performance is the right fit. They can help you chase your goals and accomplish them.
You can contact them by their Instagram at AJM_performance, or you can send a call or a text message to 786-370-1387. Hit up AJM Performance if you're trying to get that boost.
Go out and become the best you.
This season has been one of the most exciting and hectic NBA seasons of recent memory. It also comes with one of the most touted rookie classes ever, with the head of the class, Luka Doncic, who basically has already wrapped up the Rookie of the Year. This year he's averaging 18, 5, and 4, playing seamless basketball. Also, by the way, he's 19 years old. He is everything we were told he was going to be, and then some. The game is so nice and fluid. I really think this Rookie of the Year discussion's over. Do you think anyone's in the conversation? Because firstly, I think it's him, a few sentences, and then like the rest of the field.
Luka has been awesome. Like you mentioned, he's everything that people thought he would be. There was skepticism when he was first coming in the league simply because he was a foreign guard. And the fact is that foreign guards haven't had the greatest success in the NBA. But he's definitely lived up to the hype, and you can tell he's been a man playing among his boys in Europe.
Without doubt.
With all that said, I disagree with you that the Rookie of the Year conversation is wrapped up. As you mentioned, he's averaging 18, 5, and 4. 18, 5, 4. Can I interest you in one less point, one less assist, and double the rebounds in DeAndre Ayton of the Phoenix Suns? 18, 5, 4 compared to 17, 10, and 3. And what you failed to mention was the field goal percentage. So while Luka's is in the high 40s, we have DeAndre Ayton at 61%. And of course, I know what you're probably going to say. He plays for the Suns. He's not leading them to any wins or anything of that nature, right? This is the Western Conference. Right now, they are, at the time of this recording, the last seed in the West, correct?
Yeah.
With that being said, they're only 5 games outside of first place. That's how tight the Western Conference is. So the Mavericks lose a couple, the Suns win a couple, and all of a sudden that discussion changes. And like you said, Luka's everything that people were selling him out to be. DeAndre Ayton's doing the exact same thing. And I think with a couple wins here and a couple losses there, this conversation can get very interesting.
I think, Ayton gets a lot of like hand-fed baskets.
He's a big.
So we talked about the field goal percentage.
Yes.
What about 38 from 3 from my boy Luka?
That's nice.
Yeah, no. It's very nice. So remember who was supposed to be the shooter of the class? Trae Young. He's shooting 25% from 3. And that was supposed to be the shooter, the scorer.
Right.
Luka's doing that.
You could see from the beginning, even in the summer league, though, that Trae wasn't really consistent with that jump shot. Some days he'll make 10. Some days he'll miss 10. And it's time where it seems as though his confidence is in question.
The issue is he'll hit from the half-court line. Everyone's going to talk about him. He hits from the logo. But they're not talking about that's his one make on 10 tries.
Right.
Everything's like, oh my God, he's so efficient. Luka Doncic is 6'7". He plays very good defense on the wing. He is the Dallas Mavericks' primary option. He's 19 years old, and he's doing everything we could want.
You also have to consider...
And the craziest part is he's 19.
Right. Okay. He's a rookie. You also have to consider that he is a part of a better team that would have been better if you take him off of the Mavericks and you take DeAndre Ayton off of the Suns, the Mavericks are easily the better team. So you have to take that into consideration when you're talking about wins. Rookie of the year, most of the time, it doesn't really equate to wins.
Yeah, it's more like a stats thing.
It really
but
equates to stats.
Dallas already does have a DeAndre Ayton. They have DeAndre Jordan.
Right.
They have him more mature.
I'm not comparing.
If they lost Jordan, it wouldn't be as big if they lost Luka Doncic.
Right. When I compare the teams, I only say that just strictly comparing the wins of each one. But as we both agreed, Rookie of the Year most of the time,
unless it's like a Ben Simmons,
wins aren't really
Donovan Mitchell thing like last year, where they're both at that level and trying to push their team over.
Right.
When we're talking about mid to low tier teams, it's more often than not performance.
Right.
And it's also crazy to see him next to Dennis Smith, who he's outperforming like by far.
I think it's easily to see how it's a great conversation between him and Ayton. I don't think it's wrapped up at all. I think one less point and one less assist is less of a fact than double the rebounds. So I think that speaks towards Ayton.
I mean, the thing is with that is, so if we go per 36 for each player, Luka Doncic is 27 and 4. Ayton gets to 18, 11, and 2. So it's not his assists. It goes up 0.3, so it goes from 2.5 to 2.8. So it's when you go per 36, you start seeing more of a difference, especially the way that he's scoring. Right. And with Doncic, because he's a shooter, it's also adjusting to that 3-point line. So the fact that he's shooting 38, going from a FIBA line to the NBA line, more athletic defenders closing out on him. I think especially the way he's going and the way his game's gonna go with the flow of this offense, I think that's really what the separator is. Ayton is a great player. I'm not trying to say that he's not.
Right, and Luka's a great player as well. I think, honestly, it's a great conversation, but where you had me was where you said that he definitely already won.
It's also the storyline. I think it's huge as well.
Right. I think it's a great conversation to be had, and who knows, like I said, a couple wins here, a couple losses there, and we could be having a whole different conversation.
There could be another rookie added in for all we know, but for right now, I think it's Luka. I think he has it sealed already.
Hey guys, a huge fan of the show. I just got a quick question for you guys, pretty much about the trade for Kyle Korver going to the Jazz. I just want to know pretty much what you guys think of the trade and if it's really going to impact the Jazz and if he still has anything left in the tank.
Thank you, Sebastian, for the question.
Thank you.
The Kyle Korver trade was definitely a topic that we wanted to touch today, so it was great that we can tie it into the question from the fans. To answer your question, your last question first, he definitely has stuff still in the tank. To me, he still has the quickest release 3, including Steph Curry, of any player in the league. And the way he's able to shoot off balance and from a complete sprint, just plant 1, 2, and pull up, it's something very special. And I think he's going to help the Jazz directly. To answer your question, they got some much-needed shooting. The Jazz, at the time of this recording, are in the 10th seed in the West. Yeah. And as we mentioned in the earlier segment, the West is so competitive and so close. So I feel as though they needed to spread the floor more for their players to be able to operate, for Rudy Gobert to work in the post, for Donovan Mitchell to be able to drive. Exactly. So I think this is really going to help the Jazz. What do you think of the impact of the trade will be?
I think it was a great trade for them. Again, at the moment of this recording, the Jazz as a team are shooting 32.6%, 27th in the league. Right now, they only have 3 players shooting above 30% who play 15 or more minutes. Jay Crowder is shooting 31%, Ricky Rubio at 32%, Joe Ingles at 38%. I think what their biggest drop-off is right now is how little Donovan Mitchell's hitting the 3. And adding Kyle Korver, who at the moment is shooting 48% from 3, and how you said how he can come off the ball, no ball, coming off ball screen,
from
catch,
a sprint.
Bang.
From a sprint.
And it just helps so much.
And we don't expect Donovan Mitchell to continue his shooting woes.
Yeah.
And we don't expect the Western Conference to look how it does now. At the time of this recording, as I mentioned, they're in the 10th seed and only being 5 games behind of first place.
Yeah.
And right now, the top 3 seeds in the West are the Clippers, Denver, and OKC.
I can definitely see the Clippers falling out. I see Golden State jumping up to
going
the 1.
out. So what I'm saying, I bring that point up to say there's going to be a lot of movement in the West. And adding this, I think, is a really key piece that they needed. There were several teams that could have
and the fact they kept him away from other teams, I think, was a big part too.
Yes,
like if
I
Houston
agree.
got their hands on him in that style of offense,
any other
if
team,
Philly could have got him in the East, like the fact that they got him is also we have him and you guys cannot have him. He provides what they need. Like they need shooting right now.
Right.
Their two best players, or two of their three best players, are primary to the basket players, and then Rudy Gobert lives down there.
And
so
I
having
think
a player that spreads it.
And I think we both expect the Jazz to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right? So in the playoffs, obviously we see that teams force you to play your weaknesses.
Yeah.
So this, again, strengthens the Jazz because we know they're tenacious defense. We know they're going to rebound. We know they have a solid offense, but we know before this trade that they couldn't really shoot the ball.
Yeah, they were sort of stagnant.
Exactly. So teams would be sagging off, really
just crowd the paint.
Exactly, crowding the paint. And now with this trade, it's going to space the floor. I think it was a great move for the Jazz, and I definitely think that it will help them not only immediately but for the long run.
Yeah, and with the play style that he is, it's definitely one that he still has more intent. Like he could play this year and I think maybe next year because he's a strictly shooter. He doesn't really do anything off the ball. Like
Not
it's how we saw Ray
pounding.
Allen age out. Like he was more ball dominant in his youth. And even on the Heat, like he was still dribbling the ball, like making moves. Kyle Korver's like 1-2, don't like it, pass it. Run around, hit me a screen.
And that's it.
Shoot. If I don't like it, pass
Ray
it.
Allen took care of his body a ton, and Kyle Korver has spoken about how his time with LeBron
I was going to say, LeBron
really
definitely
helped him to work on that as well.
Yeah, your body's your moneymaker, your body's your temple. He's taking care of it. He knows, look, I don't really worry about the springs. I just worry about the getting up every day, my hips, my legs, feeling that strength in my core. Like, it's not like he's like, oh, dang. Can't jump 40 feet in there anymore. It's like, no.
Because he doesn't rely on that.
Yeah.
It's strictly shooting. So, like I mentioned, I definitely think this trade is going to help them a lot.
Yeah, it addresses right now their biggest weakness, and it's getting a player that knows how to play basketball. Veteran, also helps leadership-wise.
Our guest on this episode of the Nothin But Net Show is Mike O'Keefe. He is a former player and a high school basketball and baseball coach from Portland, Oregon. He started Rose City Hoops, a Portland TrailBlazers fan site, in 2012. He loves NBA basketball and all of Rip City. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, fellas.
Of course, thank you for coming on.
First, we wanted to ask, obviously, you have a different path than most of the people we've interviewed. We've mostly interviewed players and coaches, but I wanted to ask about your basketball path and how you ended up starting Rose City Hoops.
Yeah, sure. Well, I definitely have a different one than most. I played a little bit of high school basketball, but mostly kind of just rec league basketball. Our high school had a good team, and no stuff to make it, but it was fun. I was more of a baseball guy personally, and that's kind of where I do a lot of my stuff now. But basically, I've always loved the Blazers. That's kind of been my big thing from going to games, at a young age, and all that. And I started Rose City Hoops kind of first when maybe just a year or two when Instagram actually came out, 2011, 2012. It was the day after Damian Lillard and Myers Leonard was drafted in July or June of 2012. So I kind of, just started it, not thinking too much about it, but over time I kind of worked harder on it, kind of grinded on it a little bit. And people have followed, and it's been pretty cool to see. And, I think it shows how good kind of the Blazer fans are, around the Pacific Northwest, how much kind of they support their team and stuff. It's just been really cool to kind of get it rolling and, seeing kind of where I can go with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. You mentioned that you started in 2012. Was it something that was initially just you and your friends, and what type of path was it to being where you are now, where you have nearly 12,000 followers?
Yeah, well, it was just me. I probably was bored one day in the summer or something, and just I was like, I'm going to see what I can do with this. But it's really kind of just been me for the most part. I got people helping out on my Twitter who do a really good job. And Twitter's not, it's not the platform that Instagram has become. a lot less followers, but it's definitely changed over time. You know, I look back on my first post a couple nights ago, and like, you know, bad grammar, you know, bad kind of photo edit, all stuff like that. So you know, I feel like I've come a long way in those 6-7 years, and you know, it's just been cool. Like, you know, like I said, man, having, you know, a lot of followers, there's nothing really. I haven't done anything, you know, necessarily to really deserve that. I just have been active, you know, and I think that's for a lot of people, that's a good tip for, you know, trying to build social media. Just stay active, you know, post on your story, you know, post photos, post stuff that, you know, people want to see. And it's been really cool. You know, it's a tough platform kind of to make any money in if I want to sell, you know, merchandise or stuff like that. That might not be a, you know, best friend for a Blazer Instagram. But I would just say, you know, it's very fun to do. And, you know, people have, you know, the fans have been great. I can't speak enough about how good my fans have been. So I definitely feel very, thankful in that.
No, it's great to hear.
Awesome.
Now, I as well, I'm a big baseball fan, primary baseball fan, and
All right.
I do love the NBA as well.
All right. Nice.
Now, being a Blazers fan, I know a few. So they're also sort of weird with like their assessment of the team because like obviously being a fan and being able to talk about it's different. So what is your like assessment of where you guys stand at the moment and like going forward with your backcourt and how you guys are trying to progress with everything else?
Right. Well, yeah, I was kind of like, you might have caught me on a bad day, you know, just because I think we've lost 4 out of the last 7.
Yep.
So it's been a little struggle as of late. Yeah, obviously.
And Dame hasn't been playing too. Damian Lillard is my second favorite player, so I'm able to get on him, but he hasn't been playing too hot.
Right. Well, he didn't play too well last night. You know, I think it's tough, man, when teams trap. You know, you saw it in the playoffs last year with New Orleans. They'd bring off a pick and roll, they'd bring their big guy up and get Lillard, and basically, you know, make someone else beat him. And that's kind of been. Obviously, the Blazers got a great backcourt. Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, kind of the mid-major backcourt. You know what you're getting out of them. But I would say the Achilles heel, and like I said, I'm a fan too, so it's just an opinion. People are going to have different opinions. I'm not saying I'm right. But I think kind of one of the Achilles heels for the Blazers have been, you know, the wing. And, you know, you trap Lillard, you trap CJ. You got Mo Harkless, Evan Turner, Al-Farouq Aminu, who are career, you know, I think like maybe 29, 30% three-point shooters. So, you know, you can bank on hopefully one of them has a good game. But I think a lot of teams, especially upper tier in the Western Conference, are okay with, you know, letting them beat you. Obviously, you know, I think Yusuf Nurkic has been really good this year, and I don't necessarily think he gets enough credit. People, you know, I think a lot of fans, right, call him, you know, maybe just a little soft or something. But Nurkic has been great. You know, he's kind of that third weapon. I probably agree with a lot of fans that I think the Blazers are one piece away. But it's also tough because, you know, a couple summers ago we put over, you know, $200 million in Harkless, Evan Turner, Myers Leonard.
Was that the summer Allen Crabbe left as well?
I'm sorry?
Was that the summer Allen Crabbe left as well?
Yeah, he got he left the next summer, but he was signed to a 4-year, $80 million deal as well, which was like, you know, that was tough because it's like,
which I think a really big thing about it is like looking at like the Trailblazers history, like the player that you guys would work perfectly now would have been a prime Nicholas Batum. Like, if Bottoms was still there in his prime, I think it was perfect. Because Evan Turner is great off the dribble, but the shooting is what you guys really need is that guy like on the wing or in the corner just to like bang him or take it off the dribble.
Exactly. I, you know, completely agree. Nick Batum definitely comes to mind. And he can shoot, like you said. You know, he can shoot the ball. You know, another guy I think would have been really good, but we let go in a trade is Will Barton from Denver.
Oh,
Will the Thrill, yes, sir. But yeah, he would have been, you know, so it's kind of one of those you look back and it's like, you know, it's a little frustrating. I try not to, you know, on my page, I really try not to give too many opinions because I'm, what do I know kind of thing.
You try to be
people are getting paid. Right.
right.
But, you definitely look back and it's like, you wish you maybe had a little more around Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum at the end of the day. But, I think we could win a playoff series. I don't see us, going to the Western Conference Finals with this team. But I do see the possibility of maybe a second round at some point. But like you said, Lillard and McCollum are in their primes now, so it's kind of go time. You gotta be aggressive, probably try to make a move, I would think, if you're Neil O'Shea up in the office.
No, I definitely understand, and I hear you. Well, as you're speaking, I agree that essentially you have Dame, you have CJ, but you don't have a third piece. And we know in this league you need a third piece to contend. And obviously they're playing in a conference with a team that doesn't only have a third piece or a fourth piece, they have a fifth piece. So you mentioned that you only see them as currently constructed winning one playoff series. Now, is there any move that you think can be done this season to change that, to maybe have them contend in the Western Conference or even for a championship?
That's a great question. I still think it's hard. There's reports that, Tobias Harris, Otto Porter Jr. are kind of going to be on the trade market. Otto Porter Jr. was linked to Portland. But it's hard, man, because you look at these assets, you look at the assets we have, and who's going to want a Myers Leonard 2-year, $40 million contract, or who's going to want an Evan Turner, he's owed $41 million over the next 2 years. Or Mo Harkless. And I'm not talking bad about those guys. I love those guys.
Yeah, it's just asset, like assessment.
It's really the money too. Like the money spending hasn't been the smartest with the organization.
Exactly. Yeah, it's been the summer. We go back, summer of 2016. We signed Mo Harkless, Myers Leonard, 4-year, $40 million. Festus Ezeli, who never played a game for us, was like a 2-year, $18 million. And it's like, it's hard to, owe guys money when they never played a game. But we got kind of salary cap jammed. And I think with Neil O'Shea, who's our general manager, that's where he's taken the most hit from the fans. It's like, dude, can you give us a little money so we don't have to, put a veteran minimum contract every summer, like one. But yeah, I could see Otto Porter possibly coming. But Otto Porter signed a huge deal worth over $100 million, and you would have to get 2 of those big contracts, I feel like, off the books. And, obviously Washington would want either probably like a Zach Collins, who's a second year, big fella Gonzaga, who's played pretty well, and a first round pick. So I think it's tough. I don't personally see it happening. But I do hope I'm wrong.
Okay, cool.
Now, there's one last question that we'd like to ask. It's going to be a separate question from the regular Blazers ones we have been on. So on our episode, we were talking about the Rookie of the Year. So I personally think Luka Doncic is going to run away with it. The Rookie of the Year. You agree?
Yeah, I do. He's played great for Dallas. I like that. I like the team they have. Obviously Portland fans know, Wes Matthews is such a good vet. He's, been in Portland, and I heard articles. Yeah, I heard an article of him talking, to Luka, but he's played really well. You got to give the guy a lot of credit. He's kind of just a wing. He can shoot the ball well. He can attack off the dribble. He's a kind of a playmaker for his height. It's pretty fun to watch, honestly. I haven't even done a lot of Rookie of the Year looking, but I've seen Luka's lines in Dallas, and it's like that's gonna be tough to beat, I would think.
Well, essentially, Mikey was arguing that Luka has it wrapped up. He's running away with it. It's a done conversation. In the episode, I speak about how I feel as though, obviously, I know basketball, so I know Luka's making a great case for it. But at the same time, I feel as though there are other people to consider, mainly DeAndre Ayton. And when you're talking about the Rookie of the Year discussion, it's a little less about team success and more about their individual stats. So
Absolutely.
DeAndre Ayton is averaging 1 less point a game, 1 less assist a game, and double the rebounds. And so I think for that reason, and I do feel as though with the way the Western Conference is so tight, should the Mavericks lose a couple games here and there, and the Suns happen to win a couple here and there, I think we might be having a different conversation.
That's a good point. I forgot about in Phoenix. Yeah. No, I could definitely see him winning. And to be honest, I don't see the Mavericks making the playoffs. They're close right now. But they're probably a piece or two away still. So yeah, Ayton's going to be a stud in Phoenix, obviously playing alongside Devin Booker and those guys. I would still, it's close. I would still say, if looking forward, I probably would think Luka gets it. But there's a lot of season left, and it is close because Ayton's played very well. And he's going to be kind of that starting big in Phoenix for hopefully a while.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. It's close. But thank you, Mike. We wanted to definitely thank you for joining the show. Thank you for reaching out and supporting us. We love your page, obviously, and we encourage all of our followers to go ahead and follow your page. And
Appreciate
we
that.
wish you nothing but the best in the future. And hopefully Dame can get back together and drop some big numbers. Cause
let's hope so. I'm sick and tired of yelling at the TV every night. So
no, I feel you.
Yeah,
I'm
thank you again.
I'm hoping we get back on track. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Of course, yeah, and as he is a Damian Lillard fan, I'm a big CJ McCollum fan, so we love your backcourt. Like, for us, the one that we can agree on, like, that's probably one of our favorite backcourts that, like, we each really like.
Definitely.
Like, I'm a big CJ guy.
And we even have a Damian jersey on our set too in the back.
I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, no, it's we're definitely blessed with them. They kind of spoil us because, like you said, there's not a lot of supporting help at times. And they're great guys. They represent the community well. They're just terrific human beings. So you never in Portland you never hear a bad word said about them really. And we're definitely lucky in Rip City.
Yeah, and I love the Rip City.
Yeah.
Thank you for being on with us. We really enjoyed the interview. It was a great talk.
Thank you, Mike. Pleasure to
I
meet
appreciate it, guys. You guys have a great rest of your
day.
day. All right, take care.
Bye.
Thank you all for watching. This concludes the 11th episode of the Nothin But Net Show. We would like to say a special thank you to Andres Garcia, Mike O'Keefe for the interviews, and to Sebastian for the question that he gave us.
Yeah, so we'd also like to thank all the fans for watching us every week, whether it be over the podcast or on the YouTube. And definitely make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel if you haven't. Also check us out on our social medias. We are at the NBN Show on Twitter, as well as on Facebook and Instagram. We are the Nothin But Net Show.
Be sure to check out the articles we talked about in the beginning of the episode, and we'll see you all next time.
Peace.